Good morrow, ladies and gents. This is Andrew with Creative Crush, and let's talk about some things. So you ever seen that Ridley Scott commercial? I don't know what you're thinking. Ridley Scott made a commercial? What was it about, one of his movies? No, I'm talking about this is back in the 80s. It was actually one of the first things he directed. It was a commercial for Macintosh, Apple, advertising that their computers were better than IBM. So let's have a look at that commercial here.
Today we celebrate the first glorious anniversary of the information purification directives. We have created, for the first time in all history, a garden of pure ideology, where each worker may bloom, secure from the pests of being contradictory thoughts. Purification of thoughts is more powerful a weapon than any fleet or army on earth. We are one people, with one will, one resolve, one cause. Our enemies shall talk themselves to death, and we will bury them with their own confusion. We shall prevail.
On January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh. And you'll see why 1984 won't be like 1984.
Now I know what you're thinking. What did I just see? That was the general response of most people who saw it at the time. Now, the commercial was well received because it's very different, but I want to talk about some of the elements that make it good and some of the elements that make it confusing. Starting with the good, I mean, this is unlike any other commercial you've ever seen at the time. Other things have emulated it since then. It just really stood out as you examine the pieces of what was going on here. So the commercial works well into its strengths. It really gives you a sense of the world that these people live in, that there's something wrong, and that there should be some reason to rebel against it. And that Big Brother Orwellian feel, which was quite popular at the time. And that feeling sticks out in the human heart specifically. We have a desire to be free, to be unique, and to express ourselves, and that has existed throughout the ages. And this really plays on that feeling, the fear, if you will, of being overshadowed by a corporation or an idea that is not necessarily in harmony with your own personality. Now, the things that didn't work about it is it was so symbolic that it was difficult for the average person to follow. Now, depending on who you're trying to target as your audience, this may not necessarily be a bad thing. And I get the sense that that was what Apple was trying to do here. And because of that, that's why this commercial worked so well, honestly. This wasn't something that was for everyone. This was intended for those select few who would understand the references and would understand how this applies to them. There's a reason there is a culture around Apple. It's because they select who they want their audience to be, and they do it very well. So even for this commercial saying what it does poorly, it's not really something you can say with any definition. When you're advertising, you don't want to try and appeal to everyone. If you try and appeal to everyone, you'll appeal to no one. You want to pick your segment audience and appeal to them specifically. And that's what this commercial did so well. It picked its audience, the artistic-minded people who wanted to be individuals, and it appealed to them very thoroughly, very clearly, in a way that it didn't appeal to everyone else. Now, to those who it didn't appeal to, they did see it as a joke, and it became a running gag a lot throughout popular culture. But if anything, that only helped spread the idea of it and get more people thinking about it and talking about it. I wouldn't change anything about this commercial. I feel like it did its job very well. That's all I got to say about that. Thanks for watching, ladies and gents, and we'll get creative with you next time. Taking time to just sit down and record was a lot harder than I figured it'd be. I mean, I'm doing a lot of stuff all the time, every day, planning events and other things that I do. Basically, the only time I really have to record is when I'm doing something else, like driving or walking so I can get some food, because I don't have my car today. If you've got no time, you've got time when you're driving and walking.